What's going on, everyone? My name is SiahZ, and welcome to our over 1 million damage Cobra, Lash, and Deadeye build guide. This build is absolutely melting through the new breach content, being able to zoom through and clear breaches within a blink of an eye, thanks to Cobra Lash obviously is built in chain, having screen wide clear in the build. We're also doing over 1 million damage, being able to burst bosses down quickly, and we're achieving all this with only one divine put into the build, so the ceiling and potential of this build is insanely high. I'm absolutely loving Cobra Lash Deadeye. It's doing everything I want, and the build overall feels amazing to play. Before we get into it, if you guys do enjoy the video or you're liking to hear what I'm doing on the channel, do consider hitting a like on the video and a subscribe to the YouTube channel. It does help me out immensely, plus it helps with the YouTube algorithm, and in turn right now that currently is the best way to support me. Also should be live right now streaming on YouTube and Twitch. If you guys want to come over, watch me blast through some maps, the link for that will be in the description as well as the comment section of the video. All right, let's get right into it. So the first thing we're going to get into is the gear. So we are running crit. I would wait around level 75 to transition into that, but we are running the Foulborn, Hand of Thought, and Motion. These are the new Foulborn uniques brought into the game. Obviously, the issue with this is they're kind of expensive if you do the Hand of Thought and Motion, but thanks to Foulborn, these are really cheap right now if you get the ones that obviously have an increased strength. Make sure you are looking obviously for the increased crit chance per 25 intelligence, because if you don't, there's other ones that roll that off, and obviously we don't want that since we are running crit. So make sure you're looking for that one. But these right now are only 1 to 2C, so you can easily pick these up for cheap and get straight into crit and stuff like that into the build and transition your passive tree into it. It's really simple. We want to be looking for on these though increased dexterity and increased intelligence, as this will give us obviously more added lightning damage and crit chance, since we are going to be getting that per dex and intelligence. So make sure you're keeping in mind that whenever you're looking at these claws. As far as our helmet, we are running Fractal Thoughts. Since we are stacking dex as well, we're going to be getting increased elemental damage per 10 dex, so we're getting a lot of overall DPS. Plus we get maximum life per intelligence, which is nice, but we're mainly just going for that elemental damage. This will also give us critical strike multiplier for dex is higher than intelligence, which it always is, and then we'll get increased dexterity if our strength is higher than int. You can try to roll that if you want, maybe try to get some strength on stuff just to get that, but obviously we're just mainly going into it for the increased elemental damage because we do have a decent amount of dex. As far as our gloves, you just want to look for evasion based gloves, going for high reses, this way we can be res capped, and then just maximum life. We want to roll as much maximum life as we can on gear, so this way we can get to over that 3k life or higher. That'll give us a really good amount of survivability. I need to roll obviously more life on some of the gear. I'm just farming out currency right now to do that. As of right now for boots, obviously again full evasion rating, going for reses to be res capped, move speed if you can. If you can roll life on there, go for it, but I'm mainly just shooting for reses obviously on here with the move speed, and then highest evasion as we possibly can to try to get a good decent chance to evade. Obviously, as far as the body armor, we are running a dragon scale one. This is hybrid armor evasion. I needed to roll 3 reds, 2 blues, 1 green, so obviously it's really hard to roll that on a full dex based evasion. I would like to go, I think it's called Brisk Wraps, I think is what the name of it is. That's the one where it gives you more damage per dex. It's like the dex stacking body armor, but obviously that is pretty expensive, plus to roll it, link it, you know, etc. So I need to look into that, but for right now, just going for a body armor that gives you the color sockets that we need, and then just reses if we can. If you can roll chaos on the body armor as well, so this way we can try to get out of the negative for chaos. This will obviously help us with survivability. As far as our accessories, running Prism Wave, really good belt, just gives us ele res, elemental damage if we have a flask effect, and then just a lot of nice added elemental damage to our attacks. It allows us to get more DPS overall, so that's why we run Prism Wave there. For the rings, I am running a coral ring. This is just a base that I found to get the stuff that we need. You want to try to shoot for high dex. Intelligence isn't bad. Lightning damage to attacks isn't bad. Obviously, reses if you can, if you need them, obviously. Life, etc. This is what we're looking for on rings. Obviously, I have an amethyst base here. This doesn't really give us any DPS, but I just needed to get us reses to be res capped, plus the chaos res is really nice to double roll on here, so this way we can get out of the negatives. So that's why I'm running an amethyst here. For the amulet, I'm running in a gate. Ideally you'd want an Astra Manus. This is like the end game that we're going for, but obviously Astra Manuses are pretty expensive right now. That's why I'm going for in a gate, just looking for all attributes, dexterity, and then if you can get a open prefix to throw life on there, that is going to help us even more. As far as day and night, we're running utmost swiftness on here just for the increased dex that it does give, plus the flat dex is nice. Ideally we would probably want to re-roll this to arcing blows and then just put the points into utmost swiftness since we're right there on the tree, but obviously utmost swiftness is way cheaper to anoint than arcing blows, so that's why I went ahead into utmost swiftness first. For the flask that we're running, obviously you want to get a herbal prismatic tincture, so this way we can get the increased elemental damage with melee weapons. Just look for, if you can, to roll on here. Melee weapons penetrate res and increase effect. We're going to be rolling a diamond flask for the increased crit chance. Obviously, you can roll crit chance again on here during effect. Is really nice. We're going with a jade flask for evasion, and then increased evasion during effect on here rolled. This will help us with survivability. Then finally, we're running a rot gut quicksilver flask. This is really good because it allows us to get onslaught. Since we're going to be consuming our frenzy charges, we have a really good amount of generation with blood rage. Now we can get into the gems. So for the gems on a Cobra Lash, we're going to be obviously Cobra Lash highest level. You can't with quality and all that junk. We're going to be supporting it with elemental damage with attacks for more elemental damage. Inspiration, this is going to give us more critical hit chance per charge. You're going to have 5 charges with it, so you get 8% increased critical hit chance per inspiration charge. You also get 5% more weapon elemental damage per inspiration charge, and we can have 5 of them. We also get 33% less mana cost of skills, which is really nice. So overall, just a nice Giga Juice DPS with crit chance and all that, so that's why we run it there. We're also running Trinity since we are running Fire, Cold, Lightning. We have full resonance uptime, which adds a lot of increased damage. We're also going to be throwing Nightblade on here. This is just going to give us elusive on crit strike, which is going to give us 134% of crit strike multi, +1 crit strike to base. It's 34% increased effect from elusive while we have Nightblade on here, so it just absolutely allows us to Giga Juice DPS. We're also going to be throwing Volatility on here because this is going to give us a more maximum attack and less minimum attack damage, so again, more Giga Juice DPS. We're going to be also running Rolling Blades. This is a really good movement skill. We're going to be supporting that with Fortify, so this way whenever we hit an enemy, we'll get Fortify. We're going to be throwing faster attacks on there to attack quicker with it, and I actually like throwing Life Tap on here so we don't use any mana, and that allows our tincture to be up even longer. That's why I throw Life Tap to support that, so this way instead of using mana with Rolling Blades, we'll actually use life. We're also running Sniper's Mark with Mark on Hit and Life Tap again, so we don't use mana. Mark on Hit just allows the mark to be procced whenever we hit an enemy, and then obviously Sniper's Mark allows us to get 28% increased damage from projectiles whenever we mark the enemy, which allows us to do more damage against bossing, unique, rare enemies, etc. We're also running Frost Blanket, just nice to have that there for another movement. We're going to be running Flesh and Stone. We're going to be mostly in Sand Stance, which will allow us to take 16% less damage from enemies in the aura. Since we're running Point Blank on the tree, obviously we want to try to be butt up against enemies. This allows us to take less damage, so it's nice synergy there. We're also going to be running Blood Rage. We need this obviously for frenzy charge regeneration while mapping. This just gives us a 25% chance to gain a frenzy on kill, which is super nice. Plus we gain 14% increased attack speed while Blood Rage is active, which is really nice as well for DPS. For our auras, we are running Precision in here just to get accuracy rating. We want to try to make sure our chance to hit is always at 100% or close to that, so that's why we run Precision, just to allow us to be there. Plus we also are going to get from Precision 28% increased crit strike, which is really nice. We're running Herald of Ice obviously for just an AoE, plus it allows us to get cold damage added to our attack damage, which is really nice. It mainly is just there for the clear and stuff like that and the explosions that we're going to be doing. Plus we're running Anger. Anger is going to again allow us just to get a lot of additional fire damage, which helps with keeping Trinity and Resonance all that up, since we have a lot of lightning damage obviously coming from our Hand of Thought and Motion claws. Now we can go into the tree. So we're obviously going Deadeye. For first lab, you want to go Gathering Winds, obviously, to get Gale Force when you use a skill, which is really nice, just going through maps and stuff like that, allowing our action speed to be higher, which would allow us to like zoom around quicker. For lab 2, you want to go Ricochet, obviously +1 chain on Cobra Lash. Each chain that is remaining on the skill gives us 8% more damage, so obviously the more chains for bossing, at least the more DPS, so that's what this is really nice there. Plus the chance to chain off of terrain is really nice for clearing. Then for the third lab, you'd go Endless Munitions to fire 2 additional skill projectiles. Then for your final lab, you'd go Focal Point. This is just going to allow us to have 75% increased effect of our marks, meaning that Sniper's Mark will give us more projectile damage. Plus having less damage taken from enemies near the marked enemy is really cool while mapping and stuff like that, and it does help with survivability. Also the mark transferring is nice as well for clearing. As far as the tree, we're going to be going into Ballistics just for the increased projectile speed and damage plus dex. We're going to be going into Charisma for the reduced mana reservation efficiency of skills. This way we can get more mana back and obviously run all the reservation skills that we need. Going down into Finesse just for the attack speed and dex that we're going to get. One with Nature is really nice for the Ellie res, plus the crit chance and Ellie damage with attacks is really nice for DPS. Quick Step is just nice for the attack speed and chance to suppress spell damage. Going into Tuition just for, again, evasion, life, all that good stuff for survivability wise. Herbalism is really nice for the 10% increased max life, so that's why we go into that. Coming here, and then we're going down into Primeval Force. Then we're going to take the left side node just for the chance to shock and all that stuff. But this is just going to allow us to get a lot of increased elemental damage, plus even more if we have a flask effect. For the mastery on here, we want to take hits have a chance to treat enemy monster elemental resistances values as inverted, which is really nice, obviously for DPS wise. For tanky monsters that have a lot of LE res, this, you know, can have a decent amount of uptime at flipping those for us to do more damage. Going down into lethality for the crit strike, trance, and multiplier. Since we are obviously a full crit build, this really helps bring that crit chance up to a reasonable amount. For the projectile mastery, we do take the increased projectile damage per dex since we are stacking dex. Coming down, we're going to be going into the cornered prey. Now, obviously, this is bleeding stuff, and we're not doing too much bleed, but the 10% chance with attacks to cause bleeding is really nice for uptime of this, obviously. So it's 80% increased crit chance and 30% crit multi against bleeding enemies. Plus, with the bleeding mastery, you can go 80% increased crit chance against bleeding enemies, so you double stack it there, which is really nice to have a lot of, obviously, crit chance overall. We're going to be going into the Twin Terrors for, again, increased crit chance while dual wielding. For the mastery, 1% crit chance to the offhand while dual wielding. Really nice to just get our percentages high as possible. We're going into Point Blank for 30% more damage at the start of their movement. This is mainly just for bossing, tanky rares, uniques, etc. This way we have a lot more DPS on Cobra Lash. Going into Thick Skin, we're going to be taking all of these nodes, obviously. The chance to avoid elemental ailments is nice, but mainly we're taking it for the life. For the mastery here, we are going 15% increased max life if there are no life modifiers on our equipped body armor. Since we don't have any, this is just really nice to roll. If you do have life on your body armor, just throw this off and just go for the 30 to max life. Going back up, we're going to be putting points into Acuity for the increase in attack speed, obviously. And then for the mastery, just take the accuracy rating. So this way we can just be at that point to where we're at like that 100% chance to hit. Going into the Heartseeker for the increased crit strike multiplier, plus the 2 nodes before it is really nice for crit chance. We'll be going into Thrill of Battle. We're mainly taking this just for the reduced mana cost of attacks, and the mana per enemy hit is nice just to keep full mana. This way we can try to keep our tincture up as long as possible. For the mastery, go into the increase in mana reservation efficiency of skills. This way we can run another aura. We're going to be going into Invenerate for the chance to suppress spell damage, plus 3% of suppressed spell damage prevented is nice as well on top of that. Go into Multi-Shot. This will allow us to fire additional projectiles, so we don't need to run like GMP, volley, anything like that, right? We'll have enough projectiles being thrown out that we can throw just another damage support in, which allows us to have more DPS with Cobra Lash. Heading up, we're going to be going into Mark Prey for the increased damage that the marked enemy will take, plus the chance to gain a frenzy charge when we hit the marked enemy on the mastery here is really nice for bossing, etc., to keep frenzy charge uptime. We're going to be going in a Blood Drinker for the increased life, plus the 2% life on kill is nice for survivability. Clever Thief will allow us to have obviously our attack damages leached as life and mana, which is just nice for survivability. Then we're taking the full Claw Cluster. Claws of the Magpie is just really good amount of increased damage with hits with claws, more attack speed with claws, all that good stuff. Then down in the Claws of Hawk is just an absurd amount of increased crit chance with claws, and obviously the crit strike multi with claws is really nice. For the mastery, we will take the inherent attack speed bonus from dual wielding is doubled while wielding 2 claws. That just allows us to get a lot more attack speed. We're going to be shooting across here. I do need to take a point into the strength here and prowess. If you don't need the 30 strength and you have enough to sedate all your attribute requirements with strength without this, obviously take the point out. But I needed to put that here just to get the remaining strength to run stuff. We're going to be going into Forces of Nature for the penetration of elemental reses here. We're then going into Revenge of the Haunted. This is just really nice for chance to suppress spell damage, 1 full life, and the evasion and life that we're getting out of these nodes. That's why I go into it for the survivability. And then finally, I am putting points into, I need to level a few more times. I want to go in Life Raker up here for the attack speed with claws, but mainly to get into the other claw mastery, so we can go into skill supported by Nightblade, have 40% increased effective elusive, which will allow us to get a lot more DPS overall. But that covers everything in the build and wraps it up. Overall, I'm really enjoying the build. Like I said, we're zooming through the new breach content, we're blasting with screen-wide AoE, we have over 1 million DPS, being able to burst down bosses really quickly, and we're achieving all this only with 1 divine put into the build, so we can still scale this up immensely. As always, if you guys did enjoy the video and you like what I'm doing here on the channel, you consider hitting a like on the video and a subscribe to the YouTube channel. It helps me out immensely, and it also helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and in turn, currently that is the best way to support me. Also should be live right now streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Link for that will be in the description, as well as the comment section of the video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day and night depending on watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.